Okay, we got these big rocks here for a foundation, and most of them is pretty well close to the same thickness, but there's this big giant one here, and it's thick as two of them. And if you notice, there's a crack almost all the way. It's over halfway, and it runs pretty deep, and looks to me like they might have tried to split it right here before. It looks like the little place been chiseled out. Maybe not though. But anyway, I'm going to split this rock in half. That way I get two good rocks out of it. So I've got two big metal wedges and a hammer, and we're going to try to split this thing. Okay, a few licks with the hammer, and you can see this crack is opening up all the way across now. So hopefully it'll split straight down. But we're going to give it a shot. There we go. What do you think about that? Split just as pretty as you please. Okay, now that we got the big rock split in half, I'm going to knock a few of them little rough edges off that, and then we're going to set these on the corners and try to level them up best we can. And I think this right here where I had these blocks sitting is my lowest corner, so I'll find the biggest one, put it there, and here we go. Okay, I got the first two stones set in place, and I've got a string line on them, and got them pretty close to being level. You can't see the bubble hardly, but it goes to level. And those stones there is about 18 inches square and about 8 inches thick, and that one's a little bigger, so that ought to be a pretty good footprint underneath it. And that's what it sat on for about probably 200 years, so if it held it that long, I'd say it'll hold it long as I want it to. And then now we're going to set the other side and go from there. Okay, now we're going to put the third corner in. Here's the first two. That's where I'm going to establish my square. So now to set this corner, I've measured over here 15 foot, got a rough estimate, and I've got a string level on these two stakes from that rock, and I've got it set on level. So I know I have to have about that high of a rock to make it level. Now to get square, the best way is to do Pythagorean's theorem. Get you a triangle right here, and a squared plus b squared is c squared. So if I do this squared times this squared, that'll give me my distance from the diagonal here. Another way you can do it is to measure over 15 that way and my 15 this way, and get the distance there, and then take a measure from this corner to this corner, and this corner to this corner, and adjust them until they're the same, and then you're building a square. So I'm going to get me a rock picked out, and we'll try to get it all squared up. Okay, I've done my square root, and this is 15 foot, 14 foot this way. I'm trying to find this corner. So the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared is c squared, give me, I done 15 squared plus 14 squared, and I got 421. And then if to divide that into the feet, I divide that by the square root of it, and that gives me 20 feet and 5 inches from corner to corner. That's what this is. I measured across from this corner to this corner, and the square corner should be right there in the fork of that stick. So we'll check it again once we get the rock in place and get the first logs on it. But that should be pretty square. Okay, now all I've done is I've set 2 logs in place, and you notice these are just the old round logs. These ain't the hewn. So these were on the top, and I'm bringing them to the bottom because they're oak, and while they're low, I'm going to take an axe and I'm going to kind of just square the sides of these up. That way they kind of match. And the notches are the same, so I'll be able to just set the other logs right in place. And I might have to, these here is where the top log was pegged on, so I have to just hew the side off just a little bit. And if I have to go any higher up top, I'm going to use, there's about 3 little poplars up here that I will cut if I need to go up any higher. But I'd rather have these oak logs on the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to show you a trick. You see this log here has this notch, and where I move this log from the top to the bottom, it does not have a notch on it. So to make this fit pretty good, I've got this handy little tool, and this is an adjustable square, and it'll slide and go any angle you want. So all I got to do to find this notch is spread this out in the notch, tighten that little wing nut up, and then simply take it down here and center it up best I can. We'll scribe it right there. And now that knot should fit pretty good on there. Okay, I got about all I can get up there by hand. And I got it 4 rows high, 5 on the sides. But now I'm going to have to move these logs over on my way. Move this trailer over so I can get the tractor in here to lift these next few. Because there's no way I can lift them by myself. And if you got a tractor, you might as well use it. So we're going to get this cleared out and try to raise the rest of them. Okay, I can't really get to this back log with the tractor, so I think next I'm going to put me a ramp up right here and drag them up to this road and roll them down and then go from there. Alright, I've drug 2 little hickory poles that's about, I don't know, 16, 18 feet long, and drug them up there with the tractor, and I'm going to try to lay them from that bank over to the barn, and then I can drag the rest of these logs up and roll them up. Okay, so I had 2 logs right here, and they were the first round that would be into the hayloft. So I decided to roll them back off. They're on the ramp now, and I'm going to go ahead and lay up these joists for my hayloft, and I'm going to go ahead and put some boards on there so I can walk around, and from here on up I'm going to have to work on the notches and put some new logs. So I decided to go ahead and do this. That way I have a platform to work on. These was in it, and they only had 3 in it, but I'm going to put about 5. So we're going to cut these off and notch them to fit kind of snug. And I went up on the hill, my camera died a minute ago, and I cut this little poplar pole. And I'm going to add it in there too. It's about big round as a pop bottle. And if Mr. Rudell Blair is watching, right here's your draw knife that you give me, and I'm going to shave the bark off of this thing, and I'm going to, it's got a little bit of a crook on the end, and it's just at the last foot or 2, so I'm going to cut that off, and then we're going to lay this up and space them out, and then we'll have our joist in for that part of the hayloft. When I get the corn crib built, it'll be, say, right here. Then we'll have to put some more joists in over to it, and then we'll bring the hayloft floor all the way over. That way it'll be one big floor. And also, when I tore it down, the loft was right here at this level. And there was 3 logs right here, and I'm not putting those back in that place. We're going to put a small one here, a small one here, and leave this open in the middle. That way the hayloft is one continuous floor. So I'm going to get this ready to go.